the Naya Aetherworks Marvel deck that I've been running post emrakul ban. It has quite a few different cards, but I'm going to start off with the mana base. First off, 4 Aether Hubs, just a great utility land, gets you all the colors of mana, gets you some energy, even gets you some colorless. 2 Evolving Wilds, that can be used to trigger the Marvel activations and get a land into the graveyard for Delirium. 7 Forests, 3 Mountains, 3 Needle Spires to help get us some red and white mana, as well as a man land in control matchups, so we can put a little bit of pressure on the board. 4 Shrine of the Forsaken Gods to help us ramp into Ulamog and Kozilek, because they're a little bit pricier than what emrakul used to be. Then we're running 4 Attune with the Aether to help us fetch up some of the forests and mountains, and also get us some energy for the Marvel activations. 3 Vessels of Nascency that help again with Delirium, throw some stuff in the graveyard, including an enchantment, as well as they can be used to find the puzzle knots in the Marvels. We got 4 Woodweaver puzzle knots. Just great source of energy and life, helps you stay alive long enough against the more aggro decks. 4 Harness Lightning main deck, just one of the better instant speed removal, and it can also just be used as an energy sink. Just target something and hit it for 0 damage and bank the energy. Then what I'm running is 2 Primal Druids. These guys just gum up the ground. They're great blockers. They kind of make your opponent think twice about attacking, because they don't really want to give you those lands. And 2 Primal Druids dying gets you ahead 2 in the land department, which means you could be on turn 5, have 7 lands out, and if they're the right ones, you could be casting Ulamog on turn 5. I have done it before. It's very fun. Then I got 2 Servant of the Conduit. Again, energy source and the ability to kind of ramp a little bit, adding 1 mana, little mana dork for you. 1 main deck Appetite for the Unnatural, just because there's a lot of artifacts and enchantments out there, so I don't think it really hurts to have 1 of these main deck. Meta changes, that'll probably change, but I think it's good just to have 1 of those. I got an Aetherworks Marvel, the key to the deck, the namesake, where you get 6 energy, you get to tap and cast one of the top 6 cards of your library without paying its mana cost, and that just is great. Turn 4 Ulamog is basically game over. Now I'm running 1 Nahiri the Harbinger. She acts kind of like exile tapped artifacts, tapped creatures. She can kind of filter your hand, and as well she can be used to search your library and cheat one of these big guys into play later. She also is great as a bait for a spell queller if you don't want your Marvel to get spell quellered, and if your Marvel does get spell quellered and they attack with a queller, you can next turn play Nahiri, get rid of the spell queller. It's all good. Nahiri's awesome. Then I'm running 2 Ishkanas, just because it's great. Blocks the air. The spider's dying, gives you Aetherworks Marvel triggers. It just stalls the game out. Then I have Chandra Flamecaller. I know a lot of other decks use the new Chandra. I like this one because it's got the board wipe, as well as the 2/3/1 elementals really put pressure on the opponent, as well as if they block them, they die, and you get Aetherworks Marvel triggers off of them. So that's great. I also run Combustible Gearhulks because I have a very high curve here, and if the opponent chooses to put my cards in the graveyard, it's possible that they can get 20 damage and just lose the game on the spot to that, and otherwise they let me draw 3 cards, and that can let me draw into more Marvels and puzzle knots and whatnot to keep the game going. 1 Worldbreaker helps get rid of artifacts, enchantments, lands, to try and keep your opponent, mess with their game. It can also be bought back by sacrificing a land, return it from a graveyard to your hand, and cast again. And that can be very powerful. I've had games where I just keep bringing back World Breaker, and it dies every turn, just keep bringing it back. And Void Winnower is another one that it's just a great card if you can get it out on turn 4. Your opponents can't cast spells with even converted mana cost, and your opponents can't block with creatures with even converted mana costs. So, people get a bunch of tokens out there, and, they can't even chump block with them, because they can't. 0 is a even converted mana cost, and you can just plow right through that wall of tokens. Then, the 2 big bad eldrazi we got here are Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. When you cast him, exile 2 permanents, he's indestructible. A lot of people forget that part, try to hit him with removal, or block him with a bunch of guys. And whenever he attacks, defending player exiles top 20 cards of his or her library. So if you manage to get this one in late game, he's often a 2-turn clock, even if they block him. Because he, by that point, they're down to 40 or less cards, and it's just boom, boom, game over. Doesn't even have to hit. And then Kozilek, he's kind of the unsung hero of the deck. The card draw is just huge. By the time you cast him, even if you get him in turn 4 with a Marvel activation, you're still going to be down 3 or 4 cards in your hand, and getting 7 is just amazing. Menace makes him hard to block, and the ability to counter target spell is great. I mean, I've had times where somebody has tried to Declaration in Stone my Kozilek, and I discard Harness Lightning to it, and they try to Deck in Stone again, and I discard another Harness Lightning, and they scoop. It's just a huge card, and we do have a variety of casting costs here, so it's pretty easy to get stuff to block with. And we're going to move on to the sideboard. Alright, in the sideboard we have 2 Declaration in Stones, 4 Galvanic Bombardments, okay, which are... I'm just going to change the view here. Card view. There you go. 4 Galvanic Bombardments, which are nice instant speed, 2 damage. With Aether Revolt coming out, there's basically just going to throw some shocks in here, and I'm actually going to throw the shocks in the main deck and move the Harness Lightnings to the sideboard. Maybe play around with the numbers there, because shock can go right to the face if you want that, or deal with Planeswalkers and break up the Saheeli combo. Tears of Valakut, kind of a meta game card. If you find there's a lot of flyers, it basically deals with every flyer in the format. Kozilek's Return for those aggro decks and token decks. Just a nice board wipe, and then I have a lot of the big Eldrazi. So, World Breaker, Void Winnower, Ulamog, Kozilek, they all trigger the Kozilek Return on its from the graveyard, which is just a huge board wipe. Natural State for if you have some more artifacts. Again, with the new set coming out, I think I'm going to run some of the Release the Gremlins. Just the ability to wipe out multiple artifacts and get some nice chump blockers. Nissa Vital Force, just kind of if you get into a grindier matchup, good to have the other option there. And some Banes of Balaged. This is basically the standard legal Annihilator. Just if you're in a game where it's a slower matchup, something a little bit grindier, triggers the Kozilek's Return as well, and it is something that they immediately have to deal with, or else they are losing 2 permanents a turn, and that can be very pricey. So I hope you guys enjoyed the deck. Give it a spin. There will be a link to the deck in the description below. Thank you. Thanks for watching this video, and if you want to see more like it, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe.